man.
What's up?
Shit, it is fucking Super 8.
You ready to quit your job?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
Reach out, don't wait. There's no more time. Call out God's way. Floodgates and sky. What you say? Pay up. Just look away from a cold hater. We're not
Welcome back to the Amarettos on Armageddon podcast. We finally got Thomas back on here. Welcome back, Thomas.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, you're part of the show, so of course I have you on here. So, how have you been?
I've been surviving. That's the best way to explain it, man. I've definitely it's been a rough week as the last couple of months, and I know I was part of the inspiration for doing this, and then I've kind of had cold feet, the last week, just questioning, the impact that we can have, wondering if really the internet needs two more ranting voices about everything that's going on. And I'm not going to lie, man, this morning, I was like, I woke up and I'm like, am I going to call Chris to tell him I'm bitching out and I don't want to do this, or just kind of flow with it. So that's basically where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got to put up the fight, man. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
At least we can say we did. So, yeah. No, I'm glad you made I'm glad you made the phone call.
Cool. Yeah. It definitely feels good to have these talks. That's for sure. So
yeah, it's good to provide some clarity, and I'm hoping maybe because you and I kind of alternate on these funks that we go through. Maybe when I end up where I'm like, you know what, screw this, I don't want to do this. That maybe you'll be able to step in.
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah.
So look out for some Thomas solos too, everybody. Some Thomas solos will be out there. So far, I did 2 solo episodes. If we can keep going, I just need enough to cover through the tour, the busy tour I got coming up. We might be able to start releasing sooner. Right now, I've got it set at the 18th, but
you might be able to. We might be able to do some when you're on tour. It'd be you'd be tired. You'll be tired. You'll be exhausted, but it'll definitely give it a, some realism to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you posted anything live yet, or is it still?
No, nothing's been posted yet as of today. But I like I said, I just want. I think I could maybe count on probably getting at least 1 or 2 out while I'm on tour. So maybe I'll subtract the minimum amount by like 2. I mean, right now it's set at the 18th, so I need a total of let's see here. April, I have it set at the 18th, and I need it to cover. So that's the beginning of the tour. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, I gotta pull this up on this other screen. I can't see. April 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 episodes. So really 4. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at. So I might be
Yeah.
able to release this next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, with the news cycle, and not that we're necessarily going to talk all current events, but with the news cycle, I don't know, I might just kind of just start casting them out there, and then it it is what it is. But
Okay.
and then as we go along, we hopefully we can, and if I don't pull out, we can have a more regular schedule.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think right now I've got it set on Saturdays. And if I were to start posting next weekend, that's going to cause probably like the videos at that point will be about a month behind when they were recorded.
Okay.
If I start posting next weekend, yeah. So
yeah, cool. Sounds good. How have you been? How's so you took today off, or you're taking a 3-day weekend?
Yeah, I took today off, dude. I can't even open my front door.
No?
No. It's we got 3 feet of snow.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did hear about that in the Midwest. You guys got hit pretty hard. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, my solo one that I did yesterday, I closed it out with the ending scene was Snowmageddon. So
okay, yeah, we still need to. I need to sign into the YouTube because I wasn't able to view that video. So
yeah,
I know you sent me the link.
You?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was unable to get in. So
okay, I will. Now that I have your email here, I should be able to add your email so you can just log directly into the channel.
Cool. Okay.
That's pretty much what I needed. An email for was
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Or actually, I think it might need to be Gmail. We'll work on that after this. After we.
Oh yeah, you said you had mentioned that. Yeah, no problem. I might just get a new Gmail account. So yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. What have you been doing? What
the last one I did on remember I was talking to you about how I was barking at our former boss there about the cameras and stuff.
Yeah,
I went pretty in depth. I have like a half a novel text that I sent.
So I was under the impression that they retracted that that she kind of backstepped on that. Are they officially putting them in all the trucks now?
I wasn't really necessarily. It wasn't even over the Mirror Eye stuff.
Yeah.
It was the Netrodyne.
Oh, sure.
Because they've been getting on me about my following distances and stuff. So
shame on you,
yeah,
Chris.
I know. Oh no, don't worry. I went in depth and I did some research and I informed her about how this is how the Netrodyne cameras are pieces of Israeli spyware. So,
which I mean, I think a lot of that in the grand scheme of things is right. Like it's just everything's. It's funny. Even my 10-year-old, and I there might have been a few years in the past where I would try to wake my kids up to a lot of the stuff going on, and I've kind of laid off, but my 10-year-old's so intuitive and so insightful, and she said to me the other day, some conversation came up between my wife and I about the inward facing cameras, and she just chimes in from the backseat of the car, and she's just like, that just seems like such an invasion of this 10-year-old, right? That seems like such an invasion of privacy. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's funny is I only had to go 2 companies back and I arrived at Palantir.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yep.
I was like, okay, who makes the chips for the camera? Qualcomm. And then, Qualcomm is also the same people that make the chips for Palantir too. So
fascinating. Yeah. But it's all encrypted, Chris. They're worried about our safety and our privacy, so everything's encrypted, and they don't have keys to the back door. They would never do something like that.
They would never let them get keys. It's all separate. It's all separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not they're not involved in any way. You know, they
Right.
just happen to also make chips for Palantir. So,
Insane stuff. Insane stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a lot of the stuff well, that was the last one I did. The one I did before that was kind of on the tensions with over in Iran right now going
Right.
on.
Right.
And I just yeah, and I started. You'll have to watch. I've been a little bit more bold in my claims than we kind of started out there, but I mentioned in there is that I think like if we're too wishy washy on some stuff, like we don't like it, like it's gonna be like very confusing to people on what our stance is on things. So
Yeah. That's true. Well, I think a lot of this, a lot of people are speaking out about this stuff now, and yeah, it's not necessarily even necessary that we do hold back. I don't think it's going to make a difference regardless, right?
no, I mean when you
Yeah.
got people like Nick Fuentes out there, then I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean that like you introduced me to him, and I'm not always super current on the latest YouTubers and influencers, and
Mhm.
yeah, it surprises me some of the things he says and the fact that he has a platform. I was flipping through the mainstream channels the other day, and I think I CNN, like some woman mentioned him, and I was like,
Mhm.
that's insane.
Mhm.
There's sort of this sort of an inverted kind of psyop going on in the conspiracy, I guess you could say, where people, it's almost like they want us to know what is happening behind the scenes, and it's a kind of a form of demoralization,
Mhm.
and in a way, you know what I mean. It's almost like, okay, we have all our ducks in a row, right?
Mhm.
We have the technology, we have the money, we have the power, we have the politicians, we have everything. Now let's just subtly tell people what we're doing, and so that they'll feel so overwhelmed that they can't possibly change the trajectory of things.
Right.
I think some of that's true. I've been so caught up with this stuff over the years that you do kind of get to the point, where it's you're like, damn, like what an effed up world. What can I do, what can we do to change things, and make things better. So yeah,
Right.
there's that side of things too. Yeah, I mean, you just have to be, I guess we just have to be warriors, and just keep going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I was I at some point either in the third one or the fourth one there I kind of mentioned I was like it's very easy to get caught up in this and get like a sense of hopelessness and a sense of doom, but it's like but you can't do that because it'll make you go. What I say, it'll make you go crazy and start a podcast. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, exactly. 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 Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know.
So, is
Craziness.
there
Crazy times. Yeah, go ahead.
any local developments in New Jersey?
Politically, or just like in my personal life, or in
Just
what terms?
kind of like community wise, like as far as talk, maybe talk a little bit about. I know you've been going to that church,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
maybe talk about that experience a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So I've been, on this sort of spiritual path, most of my life, and I do, since I was 20, I've had a pretty deep belief in God. I've kind of, a lot of times career based. It's been difficult for me to be part of any sort of localized group, like be part of a spiritual, God believing Christian community. And as I've been going through these last few months, and I've been home, I've been taking a bunch of time off. I decided to join a local community church. Well, technically I'm not officially a member yet. We missed that meeting. I found excuses not to go to that meeting, but I did. I went online and I actually watched some of the services of this local church, and the pastor totally jived with me, seemed to be saying the right stuff. And so I reached out to him, and I've actually met with him and the associate pastor, who's a young kid, really good dude. I've met with him 3 times. And yeah, I mean, it's important to have that, to know that that community exists. There, recently I was there, and I kind of brought up like these more global affairs, and how, how a lot of things that were going on bothered me. And the pastor basically said, he's like, you can totally get caught up with that stuff. And he actually kind of looked me right in the eyes. He's like, he's like, Thomas, he's like, you need to stop watching the news, but he didn't necessarily disagree with my thoughts and your thoughts on some deeper things going on. But he just said that it wasn't conductive to be obsess over that stuff, and that if you surrender your faith, if you surrender yourself to God, you know that God has a plan. You know that God's never out of control, no matter how bad it seems. God, this is all part of God's plan. And I couldn't really disagree with him, but then I go home, and the next morning I'm obsessed with the same stuff. I turn the TV on, I go to my websites. I almost feel like things are getting so bizarre that it's really hard to. Well, he said also, he's like, I'm not saying bury your head in the sand. I mean, he's a good dude. He's like, I'm not saying bury your head in the sand, but you can go down those rabbit holes and never find a way back out. I'm just like with economics and especially now, if gas prices skyrocket and food prices are getting, they've already been out of control, but they're getting worse. It's so hard not to talk about this stuff. So I'm kind of on the fence with that, so I won't even name the church, but good people, like they have a group of elders there. So the pastor, the pastor, the associate pastor, and they have a group of elders there, all good people, all like scripturally based. The huge emphasis on actually reading the Bible. They do have a band. They do have a band.
Oh no,
they have a band. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was another thing too. Is that community church energy compared to the energy that you and I have been experiencing the last couple of years, being on a semi truck, spending the majority of our lives in like isolation out in the middle of nowhere. Like it's a huge transition. Like it was, and that's why I haven't really been consistent actually going to the Sunday services, because it's just such a different, I see the community that I always kind of felt sort of I was an outsider to. And I think that's an unfair judgment, because they all took me in, with open arms, but I just felt like it was a hard transition trying to go from, the isolated truck driver with his Bible and his self-reflections and his websites, to this super, tight knit kind of community group. And I that's mainly me wrestling with my own demons, so I don't want to poorly judge them. But yeah. So that's that. Yeah.
I mean, that can be hard. Like you said, you kind of get, when you're isolated for so long, you end up bitter about everything and everyone. And then, you're walking in with your Bible clenched in your hand. I can already see it. Like you don't even understand, and it's a hard one to get over, because you definitely feel misunderstood. Not just as like you yourself, but your whole thought pattern. You feel like you're the only one that thinks that way when you get so isolated for so long. I struggle with that all the time.
Yeah. Well, you start to see, the human race and communities as sort of something that you're just passing by, right? Like like I'm sure you've had those experiences on the weekend where you're delivering on a Saturday or Sunday, and you go through some town that you'll never make any real connections to. And you pass a soccer field, and people are rooting for their kids, for their local soccer teams. And then you see a parking lot to church, and everybody's going to church, and you just see these different community groups doing their thing. And to you, it's like something. It's almost it's intangible. It's something out there that I'll I'm not anchored to, that I'm not a part of. Yeah.
That I'm not going to experience. I get that all the time on tour with like just watching the concert goers and stuff as
Right,
they're
right.
leaving, and I'm getting ready to work, and all I can think is like, shut up and go home.
I mean that's an awesome segue, like the touring. I mean I don't think we didn't really give a really thorough introduction to what the touring life is, but in trucking, anything that you eat, construction materials, anything you use, period, whether it be around your house and your car, et cetera, goes on a truck. And I know that that's a kind of a played out adage, right? But well, your music and your entertainment goes on a truck as well. And there are companies that provide that service. And so, Chris and I Chris more definitely more than I now have been, the company that we work for. They go out with these, music performers, and we're sort of like roadies for anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months. And a lot of truckers who go transition, a lot of times it's just accidental. They transition from, okay, I'm just a regular freight truck driver hauling paper or, whatever. Now I'm part of this performance group. And it initially, like, it makes you feel really special. I mean, I know the first tour I ever did, it was with Future, who's I think he's from Georgia, but he's a rapper from Georgia. And it was Future, it was Meek Mill was his opener, and then Megan Thee Stallion was actually the third in line, who was she was really nobody at the time. Megan Thee Stallion was the first one I saw in catering. Like, she used to always be in catering, wandering around, like she was friendly, like she was cool, she didn't seem to be really pretentious. But so you get that Lamnet the first time, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I've made it. I've made it. Like, I'm somebody, I'm special, and but over time, like, as you're referring to, that changes. It changes when you kind of start to realize, no, I'm just a truck driver. Like,
it's still the same. Just might get a few extra perks. Yeah.
You just might. You're right. Just might get a few extra perks. Yeah.
Might get an extra scoop of scrambled eggs at catering.
Right. I guess even the production people, like so obviously we're just hauling the gear. But there's these huge production crews that do everything from the rigging to lighting and sound and special effects. You hear stories about them too, kind of losing it. Like guys that have been doing it for years. The last tour I was on, there was this one guy. Maybe it was. Are we allowed to say artist names? Well, anyway, there was this. Aside from someone that we've done the way in the past, I mean, we're not gonna say negative things about, but.
Yeah.
I remember one of the production people, they were super well known in the industry, super good at their jobs, and then just one day they're like, I'm going home. I've had enough of this. They jumped on a jumped in their Uber, went to the airport, and they were gone. And they just, like, I mean, they're probably back in the industry now, but it happens. It happens. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have to go relive it all shortly here. It's going to be a busy one. I think it's like 20-some shows in 30 days. It's going to be...
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah.
It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Which is mostly, I wanted to get everything pre-recorded, but then if I still end up working here, I still have an ounce of sanity left. That I'll be at the tour I have after that. I think it's like 10 shows in 2.5 months, so I'll have plenty of time to mess around with this podcast.
Right.
But yeah, it's just something that loses its luster because it's you got that star status. You're part of the crew. And then when you get told you have to turn around as the artist is walking through the hallway, that you have to turn your back towards her. I'm nobody. I'm nobody.
Yeah. I mean, if I was ever on tour with an artist that had those rules, like if I even knew they were like in that wing of the arena, I would just bounce, because I don't think I could do that, man.
Oh, I just left. I
If
said,
a security guard said you need to turn your back to his or her royalty right now, I'd be like, no, like come on.
I mean, I won't name names, but this particular artist, she's also the same one that had in Tampa, Florida. She insisted on having her mattress crane lifted to the 18th floor of the hotel. So I can't say that I'm surprised that she wants me to turn my back to her when she's walking to catering. Yeah.
Lifestyle, the rich and famous, man. Yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about the Oscars? You know,
the Oscars. I don't even know on that. I didn't watch the Oscars. What happened at the Oscars?
No, I because it was yesterday. You know, but it's just you know, I've just, you know, things pop up on my news feed and stuff, and it's just like.
Yeah,
it's like with all the things going on in the world, you know, these people get together and they're just always rewarding themselves and patting each other on the back and having these galas and wiping their tears away, you know. Yeah.
I worked so hard.
I worked so hard, even though my uncle's a director, and you know.
Right. Yeah. My uncle's a director. I made $30 million this year. I worked for 2 months on this movie, and then I never worked again the rest of the year. I sat there.
Now I'm in the south of France, you know. Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm in the south of France, and I'm eating very expensive French cheese and yeah. Fromage, yeah.
Fromage, yeah. Fromage, yeah. Insane.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, to live a life like that, honestly, I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around if I ever did have that kind of money, and to think that there's people out there that like that from day one never had any struggle. It was all just handed to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of them have you know, I think they're
from nothing. Yeah,
there's a few rags to riches stories, but even like but then again, like, it's really trendy to paint that rags from riches stories, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think some may have come from somewhat, you know, humble beginnings, but not really. Not a lot.
I think there's some of them that they almost like they're desperate for that story, so they like try to like sort of produce it. You know?
Absolutely. You know, they'll take that one summer that they spent with their aunt from the middle class, and they'll just like magnify it, you know? Like, yeah.
They'll like take a video of them having to take out their own garbage, and like this is what I had to go through.
Right.
It was very tragic for me. Yeah. I mean, you know, I hope maybe someday I could be at a level of financial comfort, but I don't. I think I would actually struggle more with my meaning crisis if I had that much money, you know.
Sure.
I mean, you would have more power and impact, but like, I mean, there would be a certain extent of where you exhaust it, even if you had the good intentions,
right?
Where you exhaust it, and then too, I think we talked a bit earlier on, like, you know, when you have that amount of money and power, that you're actually you probably struggle way more with temptation than like we do. You know,
absolutely. Well, I mean, and think of how tragic it would be if you know, so tomorrow, you know, we have millions, right? We never have to work again if we don't want to. You know, we can travel and we can do all these things, and you know, imagine you have all that, and then you find you still are experiencing the same emptiness as you did when you had nothing. You know, like that's really tragic, because then it's like, well, if this isn't working, if this isn't, saving me, then nothing will, and yeah,
Right.
with the temptations, you can keep upping the game, it's like you can,
Yeah.
and I think I can't remember who brought that up, but they were talking about. I'm not necessarily saying that you go down this rabbit hole of, okay, now, let's take the temptation of lust, right? It's like now
Mm.
I can, afford, escorts, right? And that's boring. So now I'm going to take this level and this level, and then and next weekend you're at Epstein's Island, right? Like I don't necessarily think that's going to happen to everybody, but he kind of brought that up, like where when you have unlimited access to things, like you do get bored with what typically would fulfill you. Let's say in that particular department, and then you kind of keep taking it further. So yeah,
Right.
I don't know. Yeah,
Sort of in the same way that nowadays versus early on, as you have way more people struggling with fetishes and stuff because they have access to it now. Somebody that would be struggling with fetishes back in the 80s would maybe be somebody that was rich and famous, because
Right.
they had access to be able to fulfill those
Yeah.
desires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like and I don't struggle as hard with sexual immorality because I don't have 15 women lined up at my door.
Right.
The
Yeah,
day
but
that
but we
happens,
have
let me know.
yeah, but we have that smartphone, right? And
Exactly.
so
And
yeah,
that's sort of the
yeah.
bridges the gap mentally.
Yeah. Sometimes I mean, and you meditate on is it as bad to fall into the sin of let's say watching illicit content online,
Yeah.
or actually participating in the physical act with a real human being. And so sometimes I think watching that content online is more. It's I just think sometimes I think it's more demonic because you don't really
Mhm.
know, nothing about those people in that situation, in that environment producing it. and
Mhm.
and there could be some really satanic stuff going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes, and maybe you're not fully conscious of it all, but you're still participating in it.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, just being transparent, I still fall into that sin today.
Yeah.
Less so, thankfully, but it doesn't make it any more right. And it
Mhm.
used to be that, like, you'd have to at least find your laptop, and put a password in, and wait till your laptop boots. But and so there was a process where you're like, I'm not doing something that's healthy for my mind and my soul right now, and so you would have to kind of struggle through that process. Like now, it's just you tap an icon on your phone, and you're there. It's yeah, it's sad. It's sad, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Nowadays you can do way more on your phone than just play Angry Birds. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
play Angry Birds, right? Right,
Maybe that
right.
needs to be like the alternate solution. If you feel like watching porn, just play Angry Birds. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
wish it was that easy. I wish it was that
I
easy.
know. And I don't know if you remember getting your first smartphone, but I remember my wife. When the smartphone came out, like there was red flags all over to me. Like I just said, this
Yeah.
is not a good thing. Like I don't want this thing. I have a struggle with the internet as it is, like spending too much time there.
Yeah.
But my wife was like, at the time I was sort of in between jobs, and she's like, no, you should Uber. You can Uber, in the meantime. And so the only reason I got an iPhone was to do Uber, and the rest is history. It just sucked me in. And yeah, I would love to have, I would love to have a rotary phone. It's just,
Yeah.
with a voicemail, and like, hey, if you really need to contact me, leave a message. And I promise I'll get back to you sometime this week. But no,
Yeah.
yeah,
I I mean I would go even further to the part where I don't want any phone, and I want like a PO box, and you can leave it there and I'll come get it on my monthly trip into
sure,
town,
sure,
you know, you know I
absolutely, absolutely, yep, yep, yep,
that's sort of the point of detachment that I kind of want to get to,
right,
um
right.
because yeah, it's I see why the monks go live up in the mountains now. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah.
So so then so we talked a little bit about this sort of job prospects and stuff. So so then so I know you're looking to get out of trucking. What do you what is there any sort of direction you're leaning or
So to be fair, Chris, the other day I did say to you that I received a text from our our your current company.
it's a
And
trap?
I'm honestly, dude, I know it's a trap, and I know I'm falling for it, and I know everybody's gonna talk tons of tons of crap if I go back there a second time. But that's kind of where I'm at right now, man. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of other things I would want to do. The problem is I haven't put in the fair effort into it, like in this time off where I really should have. But it's just
Mhm.
it's so hard to get out of this industry, because
It
it's like,
is.
where else? So I told you that the pastor at my church, recently, one of our talks, he said to me, he's like, he sounds to me that you really being on that truck probably isn't the best thing for you. Maybe you need to do something else. And he's awesome. He's like, hey, I got lots of people in the church that are saying they need people for this or for that. He's like, let me get back to you. And so later that day, he sent me a text for this company that the guy doesn't own. I actually thought the guy was the owner, which would have been cool, but he works for this company that does like pest control, right? And I have no problem, being a bug killer, right? So, I totally could do that. It would be local, it would be different. I'm all about it. And then I was kind of looking at the pay packages, and it's not even like, oh, I can't maintain my lifestyle, at this pay rate. It's just literally like I won't be able to pay the mortgage if I go to a job that's starting out at that rate. So I just feel I feel super trapped, man. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm being forced back into an industry that I really was super burnt out from. And but I mean, I seriously might call him today, man. You can talk all the shit you want, but I don't know, man. Yeah, yeah,
It ultimately whatever you got to do is what you got to do. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, I get the same way. I mean, because I've wanted to leave for however long, but I've I've expressed this to many people is that I feel like I'm just not socially compatible
right,
hardly anymore. I'm
right.
not. I'm not. I don't mesh in like I used to. You know,
Sure, sure. I
and
don't know if Chris. I don't know if you ever meshed in. And that wouldn't
no,
necessarily be a good thing.
no, no. I think
Yeah.
it'd be. I don't know what kind of world we'd live in if I meshed into it. But it's But I mean, I struggle with that. I mean, because I live at the apartment by myself. I don't really have much for. I mean, like I have friends. Yes, a lot of them moved to Phoenix, and it's really it's getting lonely.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I'm
yeah,
just here by myself. I got nothing to come home to.
yeah.
It's been helping with this podcast, being able to kind of
Good,
work
man.
on that stuff.
Good, good,
But
good.
other
Yeah.
than that, it's just been lonely, and
Where you live is kind of a lonely town, man. I mean, there's not a whole lot. You have to travel at least 30 minutes, right? Just for some good
yeah,
Mexican food, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean the bar in town there. She makes good food. She makes good food. Of course, I have to say they cook good food because my mom cooks there. So, but then, but no,
Yeah.
there's good food there. I mean, there's things about this town that I enjoy. I just wish I had somebody here to enjoy it with. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Um,
sure. Yeah,
that's about it.
yeah, I definitely take for granted, the role my family has played, for sure. I mean, if God, if when I die and God judges me, I think, if just to play, God's advocate for a second and kind of step back from my life, and like, what's really my worst sin, and I think sometimes it's just my lack of appreciation and gratitude for the fact that I've had horrible luck with women, and it's like
Mhm.
my just that one person that I met. 22 years ago is just always there, dude. Like she just, she just, so yeah, man. You definitely maybe not necessarily a wife, but it is. It's helpful to have an advocate, man. To have someone there for you that has your back and cares about you for who you are,
Yeah.
regardless, So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, one thing for me is that, and I've got my parents and stuff, but they're not going to be around forever. But the like having somebody that just like asks, about, uh, like actually inquires about like when are you coming home? How was your day? How was this? What
right,
I'm really excited to see you. Like there's
yeah,
I don't have that. Or I mean like I might, like I said, I might have it for my parents, but they're not going to be around forever.
right,
Um
right,
it's
right,
it's something that I have to think about because I think well, my dad anyways, he's getting into his 60s now too,
yeah,
so
yeah,
and I'd like to think I got another 20 some years with him, but you never know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, man, yeah.
Well, we're about at the 40-minute mark. You want to do our little break here,
Sure, sure.
and then we'll come back, refresh, go have a cancer stick, and
Yeah, yeah. Sounds good, man. Perfect,
if,
perfect. I'll just
yep,
leave everything running, correct?
yep, just leave
Okay,
everything running. All right.
cool, cool. Sounds
Yep.
good, man. Yep.
Bolts of lightning, pouring rain, crescent moon has taken itself far away to lay down.
Welcome back. We just got done with our break. And yeah, I couldn't even open my I kind of stood between the screen door and the door because I could maybe get it open just enough for me to stand out there.
Do you have a shovel, Chris? Do you have a snow shovel?
It's buried. It's outside. It's buried in the snow, so I have to dig it out. I jokingly said I should go out and grab that and put it in the garage so I don't have to unbury it. And well, now it's buried. My by my trash cans, because sometimes it drifts up even higher. It's one of my trash cans is completely buried. Like the
Okay.
one you put out to the road is
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
buried. It's like 4 feet tall.
Wow, wow. Yeah. Do you ever detach from your trailer and park your truck in your driveway or no?
Um, not sometimes not really though. For instances like this, especially not. It's over at the truck stop. Bless the souls that are having to plow around it right now. I'm gonna have to bring the shovel to the truck stop to go unbury it. So
Oh, good
yeah.
times, good times. Yeah, yeah. It's good. It's good we get paid by the hour, right?
I wish. I wish. uh, well, anywho, diving back in.
Yep.
Let's. I don't know. Where. Do you have any topics sitting on your head right now that you might?
Uh, not really. Just finding passion in life, man. Like I said, just lately it's been hard for me to kind of find joy, just well, to be fair, so my youngest she had a dance recital on Saturday, and
Nice.
it was her first. She didn't want to do a solo, and I've been pushing her. Like I was pushing her last year. I was like, you got to do a solo, she's like the other girls she dances with, they're good, but my daughter, I think she's just a maturity thing, maybe. And so she finally, all right, Dad, I'll do a solo, and so it was the first competition of the year, and she did her solo. She did awesome. She did really well. So my kids inspire me, man. They definitely inspire me, and So that, but just in terms of like personal hobbies, like nothing lately, man. Nothing gives me the same joy that it used to. I've been journaling. I was trying to write. I always talk about this sort of like hidden passion of mine to write. Write a novel or write a memoir, and I was fumbling with that for like the last week, and it just kind of it just snowballed out of control, and so yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the little habits and hobbies I have, that they're just kind of like they're not serving, they're not serving like they sometimes do. So, but
Yeah. Well, I think, it just dawned on me a way that you might be able to exercise that, and then it could be kind of a joint project. Is that I know you like to write, and I'm sort of like getting into this whole media thing,
yeah, yeah,
and like I talked about making it a media company, Steel Cut Media, and I want to maybe in the future start to make some movies, like
okay,
something that's not Hollywood. I mean,
okay,
it's a bit of a pipe,
that,
pipe dream, but
that's
like, if
ambitious,
you're
Chris.
good at,
That's ambitious. Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're good at writing, you might
yeah.
be able to sort of help me come up with a script and a story, and that might have some help in there.
Interesting. Okay,
If
okay.
you'd be interested in that.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe. Yeah. What are some themes that come to mind? Like what, like
you know,
comedy, drama.
um, I was thinking more along the lines of like, just for like an initial one that really speaks to me right off the bat would be sort of a story of, maybe we could do a movie of two podcasters that end up, uh, finding a way to get the information out there and getting everybody on the same page and sort of bringing down the global elite. You know,
I
like
love it, man.
we
I
could do
love it.
we could do something like that.
Yeah.
Or even just more general stuff, a more of a personal story.
Right. Right.
Or it could be like that, more of sort of like an online vigilante.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know, uh,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot there's a lot of ideas that have been going through my head, and I think we could I think there's some good potential there, especially and even if it is entirely fiction, you
Yeah.
know, I think it would be cool to as like a method of symbolism for people
Sure.
too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We could be like the Affleck brothers, how they
right,
it's just, I mean
yeah,
nowadays you can do a lot with the technology at our fingertips. Like there's really no
yeah,
excuse to making a short film. I've seen some stuff that's super low budget and just awesome, just amazing. I actually went
yeah,
to, man, it was like 10 years ago. It's a long time ago, but I went to like an indie film festival in New York,
yeah,
and it was just like mainly college students with like no budgets that make these short films, and they were some of the best films I've ever seen. Like just you don't need a lot. You don't need well, I mean, you can do special effects now with AI and stuff, right? But you don't really need a lot of you don't need a lot of stuff to make a film. So yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like I mean, I probably won't delve into CGI and making making like a Hulk movie or anything. Like I'm not. I don't think I'll get that far, but
Right, right,
you know,
right.
uh,
Huh. Yeah, I'll let that idea kind of marinate, man, and maybe I'll come up with something. Yeah, for sure. That'd be cool.
yeah. I
That'd be
figure
cool.
the more multifaceted I can be with this media thing, like if the podcasts don't
Yeah.
take off, maybe it'll be the films, maybe it'll be like recording. It'll maybe making music videos for people. Like I could. I mean, there's a lot I can do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. Cool,
and
cool. We,
especially putting it out for others to be able to create their sort of vision too.
sure,
That
sure.
that um, and be sort of the low budget option for somebody that maybe doesn't have the time, but they have
Right.
this idea, or they, the most specific instance I could think of is, like an up and coming band, and they just want to make like a music video or something.
Yeah.
I could orchestrate that.
Yeah. We'll be music producers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Um,
Well, you have some experience with that, right? Like like the small band, the small music scene, like
a little
you have,
bit. Yeah.
yeah.
Not directly myself. I mean, so I had a band that I started just out of high school, and we got practicing and stuff, and then there was like sort of I don't know about a falling out. I think we all just kind of got busy, or well, I got busy, because that's around when I met my ex-wife, and then we went into um, just sort of this phase where I was so focused on that like the band sort of just fell apart. And then actually each of those band members from that original band went off to different bands, and they actually had some level of success. They're playing shows within the area, probably like 100-mile radius of here, playing bars and stuff.
Cool. Cool.
Which is, I mean, that's about all the level of success I ever wanted.
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
But through that, I do have some context. I mean, even though even the drummer from my band, he works with another guy he does a small production company, just sort of live production mostly, with
Uh-huh.
like I mean, you can go anywhere from running karaoke or running, being a DJ at a wedding. That's all sort of stuff that he delves into.
Okay. Okay.
Which I
Cool.
think is pretty cool too. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
So point being is that, yeah, there's a few people I know in my local area anyway.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah. Live entertainment would there's definitely a place for it, man. I just the energy, whether it's music or stand up or poetry readings.
right. Yeah.
There's something about that small live audience that is really cool. And I think there's more of a demand for it now than ever, because we're so saturated with online content, but
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, something in
Yeah.
person, something that's personal versus something, so like abstract.
Manufactured, and you can't, and there's that interaction with the audience. You gotta kind of take their temperature. And I love performances that are never the same, like, and
Right.
a lot of times with live music you get that. I mean, they might be playing the same songs, but based on the acoustics and the energy of the crowd, it's everything's kind of different.
Yeah, it depends on the artist a little bit, because I mean, there's one in particular that I can think of is that it was really cool to see the first time. Like, I don't know if you know Jackal.
I know.
Jackal from like the 80s.
Okay. It's like hardcore.
No, they're like, yeah, hair metal, or
Okay.
not
Okay.
not hair metal, like hard rock, 80s hard rock, and they always they do this thing where when they play this one song that they always take a chainsaw and they cut a bar stool in half.
Okay. Yeah.
And like, it was cool the first time, but then now that I've probably seen them, because a lot of times I go to festivals and stuff, because then it's just better bang for your buck as far as I'm concerned. Then
Sure,
you get to
sure.
see like 40 different artists all in one go,
Sure.
versus paying $100 per artist at individual concerts. But so through that, I've seen them quite a few times, and after probably about the seventh time of seeing them do the whole cut the bar stool in half, it's like, okay, I'm over it.
Well, like one thing that you're probably aware of, but it was a new experience for me, is like when going out with these big artists, for these 20, 28, 30 show tours, is that
Mhm.
even the banter is scripted. You know, like even that organic banter between songs, or when they first come on stage, or like that last song. They're like, "All right, you're such a great audience. We're gonna play one more." Like that's
Yeah.
all scripted, and it's all repeated in every city. You know, it seems really artificial. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all included in the Roman circus. Keep
Yeah.
us all entertained.
Yep. 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 Yeah, I'm much more of a when we did the big tour where the place where we met when we went on that big tour together. I had so much more fun at like some of those small clubs that we went to. You know, just to
Yeah.
kind of hang out with those small bands. Where was the Rainbow Room? The Rainbow Room in Sunset.
I think so. There was
Or-
one I don't know. Maybe you'll remember. Is that it was like this triple level. It was the one with the comedy club on top.
okay. Okay.
Do you remember that there was the comedy club on like the third floor that we were watching the local comics up there, and there was like 3 different levels. And then
Oh
like,
yeah, and in Houston. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that bar, man. Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
had gotten cut off at the top bar, so then I went down to the bottom bar, and then I got one from there, and then they were told, yeah, no, that guy's cut off, don't serve him. Then I went to the second floor, and then I got
They don't cut people off there. They don't cut people off there usually, Chris. I don't know what you did or what you,
you know
said. But
very obviously I pissed somebody off, and it was pretty much I just had hiccups.
okay,
I mean,
okay.
I won't lie. I was pretty drunk, but
Yeah.
I just had hiccups,
Yeah.
and they kept kicking me from bar to bar. But
Wow.
that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
Just when you mentioned the smaller clubs, that's
Well, remember, that's the place where one of the comics, like after she did her set, like she came out and hung out with us, right?
right.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really cool. And she was just a super down to earth girl. Yeah, that was fun. I remember that. Yeah, not Sal in Houston. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. I like that place. I like that place. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple different places that we ended up on that tour that were pretty cool to go check out. Like what was that I can't remember the name of the bar that we went to in Chicago where we were drinking those IPAs.
yeah. It was like
Yeah,
an
it was
Irish pub. It was.
Yeah.
That's the first time we met. So
Yeah.
that's a good story
Yeah, it
to
was-
bring up.
It was like goat's head or something like that, or something.
Okay.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
of
that
the
was
tavern.
cool, man. I think one of the reasons we both connected, and maybe this is too soon, but we both had have our veteran stories, our military service stories, and
Yeah.
and I think both of us were just really transparent, and we're like, yeah, like I brought up how I had gotten into some trouble when I was in the service, and you had not, in a way a similar story, and so that we kind of made that connection. But yeah, man, I remember that night. That was cool. That was a fun little bar pub. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that was that tour was like 4 months long, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
That was a long one. I mean, and probably other than the Spanish artist I did last fall, like as far as actually having time to go do things, that's the
Right.
only other tour I've had time to go do stuff.
Right. Yep.
And it really matters the group of people that you're with, because like for mine, I mean, no offense, I love most of those guys, but it was a whole group of hermit crabs.
Yeah. A lot of truck drivers don't like to get off their trucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was recently talking with a buddy of mine who started driving, and I had him on a group call, and it was with another friend of mine that I used to live with here at the apartment, and he starts asking him like, what what kind of stuff have you seen out on the road? You know,
Mhm.
and he was like, nothing really, because he doesn't ever he never left his truck.
Yeah.
Some people are just that way. They're not too intrigued to check out things around him.
I mean, there's guys that will drive for 20 years or plus, and they don't. They never really leave the truck stop. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I would run into our drivers like out on the road. You know, it's we do an overnight at like a paper mill or something. You know, because we both ran out of hours, and I'd be like, dude, I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm like, look at Google Maps. Like, you know, can you walk a mile? And, I can walk a mile. I'm like, there's good food. There's a bar, you know, right around the street. Let's go get something to eat. And then we'll get back to the trucks, and they'll be like, and like guys that I have never since talked to, you know, just this one night, and they'll get back to the truck. They'll be like, thanks, man. He's like, that was my best night, you know, like since I've been, and I'm like, dude, you gotta get off the truck. You gotta interact with people. And I mean, unfortunately, our options are kind of limited, you know. It's like casinos and bars, you know, which are probably the worst places that we should be at, you know, but
Casinos especially.
yeah.
I think that's one that I totally underestimated, because I had a gambling problem leading up to getting into trucking. But then, like, when I got into trucking, I thought, well, at least I'll be on the road, because it can be hard where I live, because I have a casino a mile away, and then there's one that's maybe another 10 miles away. Then, so I thought being on the road, I was like, I'm not really going to have access to these casinos, but there's a lot of casinos with like truck parking. They got special deals for truck drivers. And it actually proved to be pretty hard, especially on the entertainment, because we always go to Vegas. We always go to Vegas. And for some reason, that's always seems to be where we spend the most time. In my experience.
Yeah, every tour goes through Vegas. Yeah, and it's I always have mixed feelings when I go to Vegas. I mean, obviously I have a personal history thing with Vegas, but it's like I don't know, man. It's like a black hole. It sucks you in, all those pretty flashing lights, and flowery drinks and half naked women, and yeah. And then if you try to get off the, I was talking to you about this earlier. If you try to get off the strip, it's just even more depressing. There's people that get sucked in there for different gambling problems, and they never leave. They end up moving there, and then they only go to the cheap casinos off the strip, to the cheap buffets, and it's just like this big circle.
I'll be looking forward to the day that I finally I break my ties with this industry, because I mean I think it's taught me a lot of good things. It's taught me how to do things on my own, and kind of how to fix things, because when you get forced to be 2,000 miles away from home, you got to figure it out where you're at. Nobody's going to be able to help you.
Right.
And that's been helpful, but a lot of the exposure to some of the just very instant gratification based things, I'd like to get away from that and get to more of a local, satisfied with what I have mentality. Definitely. Because I think that's ultimately what you have to figure out how to do, is to be satisfied with what you have instead of wanting more.
Accept where you're at, and yeah, man. I run into that a lot with. I think like for me, a lot of it's an insecurity thing. Is I think that, like, I don't want fame and fortune, but I think that there's still this piece of me that wants to, like, prove to the world that I'm valued. Prove to the world that I have something to offer, and for some of the different routes that I've taken. It's just like, and that was my we don't have to get into our fathers here, but that was my father's big thing, is like he was pretty insecure, and he was always trying to trying to prove to the world that he could do it, that he could make money, that he could be successful, that he could be all these other things. And sometimes I get caught up with that too, Um, but yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard because we're always, we don't live in isolation, and we're always around other people that do better than us, and maybe drive nicer cars, and can take their kids to Disney World every year and all this stuff, and it's hard not to feel a little bit of I mean, again, here's one of the other major sins, a little bit of envy, or not feeling good enough, and so yeah, for sure, I get sucked into that. I mean, mainly I'm talking about myself, but I get sucked into that a lot, man. And yeah,
For sure. It's hard not to envy what other people got going on. Especially when you're extremely unhappy with where you're at, So,
right. Yeah, man. Yeah.
You think about a lot of like the regrets and things that you could have done, and then it manifests itself in a way of like, just sitting there staring like almost hatefully at all these people that have these things going on. They got a nice family, they got a nice car, like you said. You got all these things that you feel like you wish you had.
Right.
But in reality, I think in some cases, if you were in their shoes, you'd probably not be satisfied. I think I talked about it a little bit in the last one. It's with this constant, you subconsciously move the goalpost all the time.
Sure.
To where like you get to this, when you seek happiness, you get to this certain point, and then life cuts you a happiness check almost.
Yeah.
And eventually that runs dry. So now you got to move the goalposts and get to the next thing. And it's always a finite amount of satisfaction that you get out of these material things.
Definitely.
And you have to sort of warp your mind into what it is that satisfies you. And my personal opinion is, I think it's a shift from going, rather than finding satisfaction and happiness because it's so fleeting, is finding it in peace, because peace is something that's entirely more sustainable than happiness is.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, you nailed the nail on the head, man. Like, just finding peace. For sure. Yeah. I agree. What's the closest that you've ever what's the closest in your life that you've ever been to that peace, if there was a time?
This is gonna sound very morbid, but probably when I was flying upside down in my accident.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. Yeah.
There was nothing else going through my head other than like, especially with being more dialed into my faith now, is that I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
He answered my prayers. I get to come join him,
Yeah.
And
it's deep, man. That's deep. That's deep. Just that complete presence of mind, and like none of the BS matters anymore because it can't matter, and it filters everything else out. Yeah.
Right. Like I don't have to worry about getting a load anywhere now. I don't have to worry about paying my bills. I don't have to worry about a hospital bill. I don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. Like it's all taken care of,
Right.
And I think that's something I have to remind myself, is that may not have been my moment to go, but it will come eventually. Like this is not like in the scope of like eternity versus the time and period that I exist within the flesh is not, it's very minimal compared to eternity.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
so I
Yeah.
just have to make it to the end of my life, um, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's deep. There's definitely a morbid edge to everything that you just said, because it's kind of this concept of, I mean, we could get into the even deeper
It's very
conversation of
nihilistic.
it's very nihilistic, but it's, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's people that kind of want out, and aren't necessarily atheists, and aren't necessarily, those thoughts are necessarily counter to God. It's like sometimes I feel that, I look forward. I look forward to that day. I look forward to that day when I can be with the man, and but also, there's, for us rushing that process, or getting there early, purposefully, is sin, right? Like, is actually, I brought this up. I talked to the pastor about this as well. Is how lately I've had some pretty dark thoughts, and he was saying, yeah, I mean, it's like that's the devil. Like, that's the devil wanting you to cash your chips early, is not something good. Like, you shouldn't want that,
Right.
and I'm not necessarily saying that that's what you're saying, but yeah, so sometimes, like, since I was a kid, man, I always felt that there was so much more. There was so much more to reality, right? Like, the world we live in is just like this kind of like isolated. We call it the Matrix. Like, the world we live in is like this isolating matrix of a much grander plan and experience, and realms of possibility. And I don't know why I always had that sense, but I always had that sense that there's so much more than all this. And then, of course, when all this starts giving me a lot of problems, and I struggle with it, then I'm kind of leaning towards, well, I want that other thing now, and I don't know where that came from, but yeah, I get you, man. It's yeah, yeah,
I think it turns into sort of this what it is and why it's wrong is because it's sort of an attempt to thwart or usurp God's plan. You know, like when you
right,
want to take the early way out, and
sure,
I mean, you and I have talked about it. I've had those thoughts too.
yep, yep,
Is that I think ultimately, when you talk about the unforgivable sin of the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, I mean, it's because the Holy Spirit is what dwells within you, and I think when you ultimately why the devil wants you to go and follow those thoughts is
sure,
because I think it inherently is blasphemy of the Holy Spirit to
sure.
try to usurp or thwart or change God's plan.
Right.
You know,
It's lack of faith in the idea that God has a plan for us, and in a divine timeline, right? That we're just
yeah,
supposed to surrender to. Yeah, yeah,
and
and
then
yep,
yeah, like we talked about, like I think the word believe, when they say that you must believe in Jesus Christ as far as being able to make it into heaven, is I think it's believe not in the sense of like the way that I believe that this mouse exists.
right,
It's believe in the fact, like, that I trust. I
yeah,
trust. I feel like trust is almost the better word there.
yeah,
Because it's not like a belief of, like, what do I think he's real? Like, do I think Santa Claus is real? You
right,
know,
right,
like
right,
do I put my faith and trust being the key word there in Jesus.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely lack that faith sometimes. The pastor even said to me, he's like, Thomas, he's got his Bible. He's like, hey, Thomas, I thought about you the other day, and he said to me, he's like, he read me the parable of the house built on the rock versus a house built on sand, and he kind of
yeah,
said to me, he's like, dude, you keep building your house on sand, and he's right, man. He's right. It's just that steadfastness, that remaining in faith. And he kept saying to me, he's like, you're in the right place right now. You're doing the right thing. Things are going to work out. And I'll go to, and I'll feel good and I'll leave. And then the next morning I'll be like, man, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it gets to be a struggle every day. It seems to get harder.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me that's signs that I'm on the right path.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it gets harder when you're closer to the target, right?
Because it would be easy enough for me to just keep sinning and everything, and I feel like there's a reason that's so easy,
Right.
I feel like I mean because like if Satan wasn't worried about what I was doing, he'd probably leave me alone. He'd be like, he's doomed anyway.
I already got him. Yeah, he's already a subscriber. Like I'm not gonna waste my sales pitch on him. Yeah. Well, and I mean, it definitely feels like, and I know there's people throughout history have all thought this is a time of tribulation. Like this is the end times are now, But it definitely feels like the game's been raised, sort of risen a bar, and like there's these many, like a much higher energy of pressure, like being put on people's faith right now. It's like a lot of people I know have started going church just this year, like not last year, not the year before, but just this year. There's a lot of people that are kind of turning to faith, and it does definitely seem like we're being tested, not just as individuals, but collectively. And yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's going to involve a lot of testing, because I think it's also a little bit, because I think we're quick to see when we see suffering that we're like, that's Satan, is that sometimes, it is God, because he's finding a way to like mold you into this unbreakable person.
Sure.
Because in a sense, I feel like this world sort of is our purgatory, It is what cleanses the spirit, through the flesh.
Right.
I think these things make us into what we'll be able to enter into heaven with. I mean, you ultimately still need Christ, but I think some of these things make you who you are. So
right. Yeah, it's like all the metaphors of metallurgy in the Bible, and just like but and so there's some people I still follow that are more secular as far as they're spiritual, but they're not necessarily what you consider Christians, and they talk about life being a soul test, and definitely, man.
I think there's a lot of Christians out there that sort of take the supernatural out of the Bible, and I don't necessarily think that's the right thing there, because I mean, if you believe in a supernatural God, you have to believe in supernatural things.
Sure.
Like having a spirit, having a soul, and having these spiritual encounters throughout the world.
Right.
I think. And I think a lot of what we witness is a testimony to that, with a lot of the Satanist stuff going on, the Epstein files, is that this is evidence that there is a spiritual warfare going on.
Right.
Like there's almost sort of this alternate dimension that would be the spiritual world.
Right.
And that's where all this stuff comes from.
Yeah. And there's a lot of evidence that a lot of people behind, let's say, science, like mainstream science, like at the way upper echelons, like they purport to be atheists or not to be spiritual, but in the background they're doing things that would prove just otherwise, right? Like they are aware of these higher realms of spirituality, both good and bad, and they seem to be trying to manipulate things and pull the strings from different levels. And so yeah. I think that just like mainstream science is a cult, right? Like science as a religion in itself is really one of the ultimate deceptions, because it yeah. I mean, some of that stuff is dark, man. Yeah.
Like reminds me of when there was I think it was when I was a kid, there was a lot of stuff about celebrities going to this this church of Scientology. Which is so funny to me, because when I read about Scientology, it's like it's so far from science.
Tom Cruise, man. Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Scientology.
Yeah. Well, it used to be they would really only recruit, like, they'd be very selective in their recruitment. But last time I was in Pasadena, there was actually like there's a museum, I think, of Scientology, and I remember someone actively on the street tried to recruit me. Yeah. L. Ron Hubbard, right? L. Ron Hubbard was a big Scientologist. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to next time. Maybe if we end up out in Cali.
Yeah.
we'll go walk by the Church of Scientology. We'll have to come up with a safe word for them that they can watch us, and that if we see them in public, they'll say bananas, and then we'll know we gotta take them with us. We gotta rescue them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, man? Anything else?
No. I think that pretty well did it. I feel like that was a pretty good back and forth conversation.
Cool.
This is actually going to be probably one of our best episodes, I think.
Definitely, I think so. That was supernatural. Yeah.
I was thinking on the last one. I was on the last one that I did by myself. I was like, boy, there is a lot of pauses and a lot of incoherent rambling, and it's like I definitely need more than just me on this podcast, so you got to stick through with me. You're stuck now.
All right, man. All right, I appreciate it, and I know you're doing all the legwork, so if I end up becoming a dead weight, don't feel free to fire me, dude.
You're a co-founder. You can't be fired. No, there's no firing.
Yeah. Well, I'll be 49% shareholder. You can have the 51%.
51%, just enough to fire you. Yeah. All right. Well, this was awesome. Thanks for joining me, Thomas. And
appreciate it.
I think this worked really good with this. I think that I'll see how it comes out on the back end, but I think this Riverside might be worth the investment.
Awesome. Sounds good, man.
Especially since we're going to have to do a lot of remote stuff. So
sounds good. Perfect, man.
Cool.
Appreciate it, brother. Yep.
Thanks for joining us on the Amarettos on Armageddon podcast. And till next time, stay warm, I guess. Yeah, stay warm. All right.
All right, man. Later.
Has taken itself far away to lay down. One more lazy dream. I can't sleep. They used to cut. You and me, we was thicker than blood. But the sky grew dark and got inside of me.